My Weird School Special, Book Number 3, Deck the Halls, We're Off the Walls, written by Dan Gutman, pictures by Jim Pellat. Chapter 5, True Love. Hi, Arlo. It was Andrea. She's the only person in the world who calls me by my real name. I must have jumped 3 feet in the air. Little Miss Perfect was with her crybaby friend Emily. They were carrying a bunch of packages. "What are you doing here?" I asked Andrea. "Buying yourself a new encyclopedia because your old one wore out?" "Very funny," said Andrea. "Emily and I bought toys for homeless girls and boys." "That's right," said Emily, who always agrees with everything Andrea says. "We want to bring peace and harmony to kids all over the world." "Oh, yeah? Well, we came to meet Santa Claus," Andrea said. "Ooh," Andrea said, all excited. "We want to meet Santa too. Can we come with you guys?" "We'll have to talk it over," I said. The gang and I moved off to the side and huddled up like football players. "What do you think?" asked Neil. "Should we let them hang out with us?" "I say no," I said. "I don't want to walk around with Andrea all day." "Ooh, AJ doesn't want to walk with Andrea," said Ryan. "They must be in love." "Wait a minute," I yelled. "I told you I didn't want to walk with Andrea. Why are you saying I'm in love with her?" "AJ, everybody knows you love Andrea," said Neil. "It's totally obvious that you only said you didn't want to walk with her to hide the fact that you're in love with her." "Okay," I said. "In that case, it's okay with me if Andrea walks with us." "Ooh, AJ wants to walk with Andrea," said Ryan. "They must be in love." "Wait a minute, that's not fair," I shouted. "So it doesn't matter what I say. I'm in love with Andrea whether I want to walk with her or not." "Ooh, AJ just admitted he's in love with Andrea," said Alexia. "When are you gonna get married?" asked Neil. "If these kids weren't my best friends, I would hate them." Chapter 6, Waiting in Line Stinks. Andrea said she knew where Santa was, and she led us to the other side of the mall. Finally, we found the end of the line of people waiting to meet Santa. There must have been 1,100,000 kids there. I could see a sign in the distance that said Santa's Workshop. But Santa Claus was too far away. He was in a special roped-off area. "We should sneak up to the front of the line," I whispered. "That would be wrong, Arlo," Andrea said. "These kids got here before we did." I was going to sneak up anyway, but a big arm came down in front of my face. I looked up. You'll never believe whose arm it was. Officer Spence, our school security guard. He was standing on a Segway. Those things are cool. "Officer Spence," I said, "what are you doing here?" "Making sure everybody waits in line," he told me, "and earning a little extra money over the holidays." "How long will we have to wait in line?" Ryan asked. "About an hour," Officer Spence said. "An hour? We could die from old age while we're waiting," I said. "An hour is like forever," said Michael. Andrea rolled her eyes. "Boys should learn to be patient," she said. I wasn't sure if it was worth it to wait in line for an hour. I thought that maybe we should just forget about meeting Santa. But that's when I heard these magic words. "Santa is giving out candy," some kid said. "Santa is giving out candy," said some other kid. "Santa is giving out candy," said another kid. In case you were wondering, everybody was saying that Santa was giving out candy. And if there's one thing that I love almost as much as Santa, it's candy. All the candy I got on Halloween was gone. So we decided to stay in line. But waiting in lines is boring. To kill the time, I practiced what I was going to say when I got to Santa. I want the new Striker Smith Commando action figure with missile launcher, voice activator, attack dog, and deluxe blowtorch. Other accessories sold separately. Batteries not included. Striker Smith is a superhero from the future who travels through time and fights all who dare to thwart his destiny. He can turn into a jet plane when you push a button on his stomach. His armor suit is tough enough to withstand a nuclear blast. He's a one-man wrecking machine, ready to take on any evil to save the world. 2 Christmases ago, I got my first Striker Smith action figure. Then, on the school bus, I tied a string to Striker's leg and lowered him out the window so he could fight bad guys who were attacking the bus. But Striker fell under the bus and got decapitated. That's a fancy way of saying his head came off. We had a funeral for his head. I got a new Striker Smith last Christmas, but he met his untimely end when his head got tragically melted in a battle with an evil magnifying glass. So now I wanted to get a new Striker, the one that comes with a blowtorch. It is cool. Most of the other kids in line were little. They didn't even look like they were in first grade yet. Man, I thought, those kids can't even read. They don't know what 2 + 2 equals. They don't know anything. It's hard to believe that I was that dumb just a few years ago. Standing still is the most boring thing in the history of the world. What a snooze fest. The line inched forward a little. I could almost see Santa. "I bet it's not the real Santa," I told Alexia. "It's just some guy in a Santa suit." The little kid in front of me heard that and turned around. He was holding his mother's hand, and he looked like he was going to cry. He must have been waiting for a long time already. If these kids didn't get to meet Santa soon, they were going to freak out. A group of grown-ups strolled by the line, singing Christmas carols. Somebody else walked by with a real reindeer. There were more reindeer in a petting zoo. "Where do you think they got those reindeer?" Michael asked me. "From Rent a Reindeer," I told him. "You can rent anything." Some lady came by asking kids if they want to write a letter to Santa and have it delivered to the North Pole. That was a dumb idea. Santa was right here at the mall. Why would I want to send a letter all the way to the North Pole? "When are we going to get there?" asked Ryan. "Waiting in line stinks," I said. "You boys are annoying," Andrea said. "Why don't you go take a walk? Emily and I will hold your place in line." She didn't have to ask us twice. We got out of there. Chapter 7. A Present for My Sister. "Let's go to Candy Castle," Ryan shouted as soon as we got out of the line. "Let's go to Cinnabon," shouted Michael. "Let's get ice cream," said Neil the nude kid. "Let's go to the skateboard shop," said Alexia. Malls are cool. There's so much stuff to see and do, especially around Christmas time. Our mall even has a train in it. We ran over to the train. It goes around and around in circles on metal tracks. At the ticket booth was an elf with a funny hat and pointy ears, like on Star Trek. The elf turned around, and you'll never believe who it was. Mrs. Cornwall, our bus driver. Mrs. Cornwall, I shouted. What are you doing here? Bingo-boo, she said. I'm running the train and earning a little extra money over the holidays. Aren't you a little tall to be an elf? Asked Alexia. Elves come in all sizes, Mrs. Cornwall told us. All aboard, toot-toot. That train ride looked lame, so we didn't get on. Any train that needs an elf to toot for it must be lame. We ran over to the escalator. Escalators are cooler than trains, and you don't need tickets to ride them. My friend Billy, who lived around the corner, told me that if you run down and up escalator for 10 seconds, you'll travel back in time. Neil said he had to go to the bathroom, so we went over to the men's room and waited for him to finish. That's when I remembered that my mom gave me money to buy a present for my sister. I didn't know what to get her. What do you get for an annoying sister? You're a girl, I said to Alexia. What do you think my sister would like? Perfume? Jewelry? Why don't you get her a new skateboard? Suggested Alexia. That's what I want. A skateboard. My sister doesn't even know how to ride a skateboard, I told Alexia. Why would she want that? No, that's a great idea, AJ, said Ryan. Buy your sister a skateboard. Then when she doesn't use it, the skateboard is yours. That's genius, I said. Alexia and Ryan should be in the gifted and talented program. Neil came out of the bathroom. We were about to go over to the skateboard shop to buy my sister's present when the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. It started with a noise, a high-pitched screech. At first it was far away. Then it got louder and louder. There was the thunder of feet. They were getting closer and closer. Then there was screaming. Then we saw a bunch of girls running in our direction. There must have been 500 of them. Eek! One of them screamed. I think I see Crazy. I love you, Crazy. Crazy was running right at us, and he was being chased by a thundering herd of screaming girls. In here, I yelled to him. Follow me. Ryan, Michael, Neil, and Alexia formed a human wall to stop the girls. I hustled Crazy into the men's bathroom. He was gasping for breath. I thought he was gonna die. He put his hand on my shoulder and looked me in the eye. You gotta help me, dude, he said. Those girls are nuts. Chapter 8. Plenty of Crazy to go around. The famous Crazy was standing right next to me, live and in person. I can't take it anymore, Crazy moaned. They're gonna tear me apart. I need somewhere to hide. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I had to think fast. So I did the first thing that came to my mind. I took off my pants. Quick, I said to Crazy. Let's switch clothes. They'll never know the difference. Good idea, Crazy said, taking off his pants. I tore off my itchy Christmas sweater and gave it to Crazy. Off his clothes and gave them to me. I put on his clothes and he put on mine. I looked pretty sharp with his hat and sunglasses. It was hilarious. Do I look like you? I asked him. Yeah, he said. Do I look like you? Yeah, I said. You chill in here for a while. I'll take care of your fans for you. I pulled the hat down low over my face, strolled out of the men's room, and gave a big wave to the girls. They started screaming and pulling out cameras to take my picture. Look, it's him! It's Crazy! I love you. Can I have your autograph? Those girls were totally buying it. They really thought I was crazy. Sure, you can have my autograph, I said. The girls started sticking pens and paper in my face. I wrote crazy as fast as my hand could move. One at a time, girls, I said cheerfully. One at a time. There's plenty of crazy to go around. Eek! I touched him, a little girl screamed. I'll never wash this hand again. After they got my autograph, girls were fainting, crying, and freaking out all over the place. They didn't know that I was just a regular kid. They had no idea that the real crazy was hiding in the bathroom. It was cool to be a celebrity. This was the greatest day of my life. But you'll never believe who rolled over on his Segway at that moment. It was Officer Spence, the mall security guard. Uh-oh, the jig was up. I figured I was in big trouble. I'm sorry, Mr. Z, said Officer Spence, but it's time. Time for what? I asked. Time for you to sing. Huh? What? Me? I stammered. Nobody told me. Hurry up, Officer Spence said. They're all waiting for you. Who all? Huh? Where? Officer Spence grabbed my hand and pulled me up on his Segway. We rolled over to a stage that had been set up near the center of the mall. There were 4 musicians on the stage wearing Santa hats. Get up there, yelled Officer Spence. I climbed up on the stage. Yo, Z, said the guitar player. You the man. The girls started screaming. I looked out at the sea of faces. Some of these fans were younger than me. Some of them were older than me. A few of them looked like my grandma. That was weird. I gave a little wave, and they all started freaking out like they never saw a guy wave before. A guy in a jacket and tie climbed onto the stage and picked up the microphone. Okay, boys and girls, he said, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Here's the latest pop sensation to sing the Christmas Klepto, his new hit song, Crazy! The girls screamed even louder. The musicians started playing that annoying song. I had no choice. I grabbed the mic and started rapping. 'Twas the night before Christmas. You know the rest. Stuff was all over. The house was all messed. I was dreaming of a Christmas white. It was a totally silent night. That's when I heard a crash and a boom, so I ran right down to the living room. There was this guy dressed all in black, and over his shoulder he carried a sack. I took one look at him and said, Whoa, man, I know you're not Frosty the Snowman. Who are you? I asked after a pause. You sure don't look like Santa Claus. He said, The name's Klepto. I'm from the South Pole. I grab all your presents. That's how I roll. On Christmas Eve, I go around the world and steal all the presents from boys and girls. You know what? Those girls were digging it. You should have been there. The best part was they were screaming so loud that nobody could tell I wasn't the real crazy. So I kept rapping. He went to the corner and got down on one knee to scoop up the gifts that were under our tree. He took them all. He grabbed my new toys. He took my new clothes. He took all our joy. To the Christmas Klepto, everything's free. I'll take your partridge, he said, and your pear tree. I like your presents, and now they're mine. Say, how much of this stuff did you buy online? You better watch out. You better not cry. You make one peep, and I'll poke out your eye. You're a mean man, sir, I said with a hiss. Just wait until Santa finds out about this. I didn't get to finish the song because that guy in the jacket and tie hopped up on the stage again and grabbed the mic away from me. "Isn't Crazy fantastic?" he yelled. "He'll be back at 2 o'clock to sing for you some more." The girls screamed. Officer Spence grabbed my hand. I hopped on his Segway, and he took me back to the men's bathroom. In the bathroom, Crazy was looking in the mirror and combing his hair. When he saw me, he turned around and gave me a hug. "You saved my life, dude," he told me. "I owe you one big time."